From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, October the 28th, 2022. The United Nations Commission of Inquiry, known for its anti-Israel bias, presented its second report on the conflict between Israel and terror group Hamas in Gaza last year at the UN yesterday. The report, as we told you about last week, accuses Israel of a quote-unquote de facto annexation and quote-unquote permanent occupation of the West Bank and of discrimination against Palestinians, while making no mention of terror group Hamas or of the more than 4,000 rockets fired at civilian areas in Israel during the conflict by Palestinian terror groups. The three members of the commission, who have also been accused of anti-Semitic statements in the past, took part in a briefing at the UN yesterday, saying they would also look at charges of apartheid against Israel. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Gilad Erdan, responded at the UN session to what he called the outrageous commission report, citing its members' four past comments, which he said show their prejudice against Israel. Erdan also brought the parents of 5-year-old Ido Avigal, killed by a Hamas rocket in the conflict last year, Shani and Asaf Avigal, to the UN, who stood with their son's photo during the session. The Avigals were also among those who spoke at an event held across the street from the UN yesterday morning, just ahead of the session, organized by Stand With Us. Other speakers included Jewish Federations of North America President and CEO Eric Fingerhut, who spoke about the one-sided report.
We are, of course, living in a time of rising hate across the world and certainly across North America. This hate is not random. It is the result of organized action. And unfortunately, a center of that organized action is here at the United Nations Human Rights Council and will be exemplified today by this Commission of Inquiry report. It is efforts like this to demonize Israel that are spreading hatred and anti-Semitism and are the direct cause of the hatred and violence that we are seeing around the world.
The head of Russia's Security Council apologized today for comments made by Assistant Secretary of the Council, Alexi Pavlov, against the Chabad Lubavitch movement. Pavlov, in an article on Tuesday, called for the de-Satanization of Ukraine, saying the country was home to hundreds of neo-pagan cults, including Chabad, referring to it as a supremacist cult. The Times of Israel cited Nikolai Patrushev today, saying, "I apologize to those who read the article, and I wish to note that this analysis does not reflect the personal views of Pavlov and does not in any way represent the official position of the Security Council of the Russian Federation." World Jewish Congress President Ronald Lauder had said that Pavlov's remarks accusing Chabad of being a neo-pagan cult in search of world domination can be categorized as nothing other than anti-Semitism, Jew hatred in its purest and ugliest form. Chabad, he said, is an integral part of the global Jewish community. Any disparaging attack on Chabad and the Chabad community in Russia, let alone an attack that amounts to blood libel, is an attack on the Jewish people as a whole. Well, marking the 4th anniversary of the Tree of Life massacre yesterday, the Senate and House bipartisan task forces for combating anti-Semitism released a statement recommitting to that cause. U.S. Senators Jackie Rosen, a Democrat, and James Lankford, Republican, and Representatives Democrat Kathy Manning and Republican Chris Smith, co-chairs of the task forces, wrote, "Today we remember and honor the legacy of the 11 people who were murdered 4 years ago while worshiping at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in the history of the United States. They said at a time of heightened fear and anxiety for the Jewish community, when celebrities and emboldened extremist groups are increasingly spewing virulent anti-Semitism openly, let us recommit today to rejecting and condemning anti-Semitism in all its forms so that no other community has to ever experience a similar tragedy. The American Jewish Committee thanked the task force, tweeting on this somber day, "Their bipartisan commitment should hearten all Americans. Combating anti-Semitism can never be a partisan issue." Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, October the 28th. Live Shabbat services are coming up at 6 o'clock from New York City's Central Synagogue, followed by Shabbat services from the Hampton Synagogue. At 8:30, a concert from the Krakow Festival. At 9, it's the Yom Kippur War film, The Battle Over the Soul. At 10:30, a replay from Hampton Synagogue, followed by a replay from Central. And coming up next, a look at this week's Torah Portion. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, October the 28th, 2022. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well, and Shabbat Shalom.